Maya had made a promise to herself 3 years ago. No more dating at work. No more mixing business with personal feelings. She had learned that lesson the hard way. And the pain from that experience still felt fresh sometimes. As a senior designer at a busy advertising agency in the city, she kept her focus on her projects and nothing else. Her coworkers respected her talent, but they also knew she kept a wall around her heart. Then one Monday morning, everything changed. A new creative director joined their team. His name was Arjun, and he came from their company's branch in another city. Right from the first team meeting, Maya noticed something different about him. He had this calm energy that made everyone feel comfortable. When people shared ideas, he actually listened. Really listened. Not the kind of fake listening where someone is just waiting for their turn to talk. Their first project together was a campaign for a new coffee brand. The client wanted something fresh and emotional. Something that would make people feel connected to the product. During the brainstorming sessions, Maya shared her vision about focusing on morning rituals and family moments. She half expected Arjun to dismiss her ideas like her previous creative director had done. But instead, he leaned forward and asked her to explain more. He asked questions that showed he genuinely cared about her creative process. Week after week, they worked together on different campaigns. Maya started to notice small things about Arjun. The way he always made sure everyone on the team got credit for their work. How he stayed late not because he wanted to show off, but because he actually cared about making the work better. She noticed he brought homemade lunch every day and often shared it with whoever was working through lunch hour. These little moments of kindness chipped away at the walls Maya had built around herself. One Thursday evening, the office was almost empty. Most people had left for a long weekend, but Maya and Arjun had stayed behind to finish a presentation that was due Monday morning. The cleaning staff had already come and gone. The city lights outside the tall windows created a soft glow across their workspace. They had been working for hours, fueled by coffee and determination. Maya stood up to stretch her tired muscles. She walked toward the window, looking at the cars moving like tiny lights on the streets below. Arjun joined her, standing a comfortable distance away. They talked about the project at first. Then somehow the conversation shifted to other things. He told her about why he had moved to this city, leaving behind everything familiar. She found herself opening up too, sharing stories about her childhood dreams of becoming an artist. There was something about that moment, standing in the quiet office with the world moving below them, that felt different from all their previous conversations. Maya felt her carefully maintained professional distance starting to blur. When she turned to look at Arjun, she found him already looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. It wasn't just professional respect. It was something warmer, something that made her heart beat a little faster. They both reached for the same coffee cup on the desk at the same moment. Their hands touched, and neither of them pulled away immediately. The touch lasted maybe 3 seconds, but it felt like time had stopped. Maya felt a flutter of panic, mixed with something she hadn't felt in years. "I should probably get back to work," she said. But her voice came out softer than she intended. Arjun nodded, but there was a small smile on his face that suggested he had felt that moment too. As they returned to their laptops, the air between them felt charged with possibility. Maya tried to focus on the presentation slides, but her mind kept wandering back to that brief touch, that moment of connection. When they finally finished the work around midnight, Arjun offered to walk Maya to her car in the parking garage. The building felt different at night, quieter, more intimate somehow. As they walked through the empty hallways, their footsteps echoing softly, Maya found herself acutely aware of his presence beside her. She could smell his cologne, something subtle and clean. She noticed how he kept his pace slow to match hers, even though his legs were longer. In that parking garage, under the fluorescent lights that buzzed softly overhead, Maya realized something important. She was tired of being afraid, tired of letting one bad experience dictate her entire future. Maybe, Just maybe, it was time to take a chance again. Not recklessly, but carefully, thoughtfully. As Arjun pressed the elevator button that would take them down to the garage level, Maya made a quiet decision. She would let her walls come down. Just a little bit. She would see where this connection might lead. The weeks that followed that late night in the office brought subtle but meaningful changes to Maya's daily routine. She found herself arriving at work with a little more energy, a little more excitement about what the day might bring. Coffee breaks that used to be solitary moments of peace now often included Arjun. They would sit in the small cafe across from their office building, talking about everything from advertising trends to their favorite books and movies. Maya learned so much about Arjun during these conversations. He had studied design in college, but almost became a teacher instead. His parents had wanted him to take over the family business, but he chose to follow his creative dreams. That decision had caused tension in his family for years, though they were slowly coming to accept his choice. He talked about his younger sister who was now in medical school, and how proud he was of her determination. Arjun, in turn, got to know the real Maya, the one who hid behind professional competence because she had been hurt before. She told him about her ex, another colleague who had seemed supportive at first, but later took credit for her best ideas during an important client meeting. That betrayal had cost Maya a promotion and nearly made her quit the industry altogether. The experience had taught her to guard her work and her heart carefully. That must have been really painful, Arjun said one afternoon as they sat on a bench in the small park near their office. It was his lunch break, and Maya had decided to join him instead of eating at her desk like usual. The autumn sun felt warm on their faces, and leaves were just starting to turn golden on the trees around them. It was, Maya admitted, watching a mother push her child on a nearby swing. But it taught me to be careful, to protect what matters. Arjun was quiet for a moment, then said something that stayed with Maya for a long time. Being careful is smart, but there's a difference between protecting yourself and isolating yourself. One keeps you safe, the other keeps you lonely. His words touched something deep inside her. Was that what she had been doing? Choosing loneliness in the name of safety? The thought bothered her for the rest of the day, following her home and keeping her awake that night. Their colleagues had started to notice the growing friendship between Maya and Arjun. Some people smiled knowingly when they saw them having lunch together. Others whispered in corners, probably making guesses about what was happening. Maya tried not to care about the office gossip, but it made her nervous. She didn't want to be the subject of break-room conversations again. The real test of their developing relationship came during a team meeting with a difficult client. The client, a middle-aged man who owned a chain of fitness centers, had very specific ideas about what he wanted in his advertising campaign. Unfortunately, his ideas were outdated and would likely not connect with his target audience. Maya knew this, and she had prepared a completely different concept that she believed would work much better. During the presentation, Maya shared her vision with confidence. She had worked on this concept for 2 weeks, refining every detail. But the client immediately rejected it, insisting that his original idea was better. He was getting aggressive in his tone, making Maya feel small and foolish for even suggesting an alternative. She felt her confidence crumbling under his harsh words. That's when Arjun spoke up. He didn't dismiss the client's concerns, but he calmly explained why Maya's approach would generate better results. He showed market research data, examples from similar successful campaigns, and customer behavior patterns. He made it clear that Maya's concept wasn't just creative, it was strategic and backed by solid reasoning. More importantly, he gave Maya full credit for the innovative thinking behind the campaign. The client finally agreed to test Maya's concept for a trial period. After he left, Maya felt overwhelmed with gratitude and something more. Arjun had supported her without taking over. He had amplified her voice without silencing his own. This was so different from her past experience, where her ideas had been stolen rather than supported. "Thank you," she told Arjun, after everyone else had left the conference room. Her voice was thick with emotion. "You don't need to thank me," he replied with a gentle smile. "Your idea was brilliant. I just helped him see what I already knew." That evening, as Maya drove home through the busy city streets, she realized something important. She was falling for Arjun. Not the sudden, dramatic kind of falling that happens in movies. This was slower, steadier, built on respect and trust, and countless small moments of kindness. It scared her, but it also felt right in a way nothing had felt right in a very long time. She wasn't ready to act on these feelings yet, but she could no longer deny they existed. The campaign that Maya had designed went viral within 3 weeks of launch. The fitness center client was thrilled with the results. Membership inquiries had increased by 60%, and their social media engagement had tripled. The success brought recognition not just to Maya, but to the entire creative team. The agency's senior management took notice, and there was talk of promoting someone to lead a new division, focused on wellness and lifestyle brands. Maya knew she was being considered for the position. It was the kind of opportunity she had been working toward for years. But there was a complication. Arjun was also being considered. They were both qualified, both respected by their colleagues, and both had contributed to the recent success. The final decision would come down to a presentation to the board of directors, where each of them would pitch their vision for the new division. This situation brought back all of Maya's old fears. She remembered too clearly what had happened last time she competed with someone she cared about for a promotion. The betrayal, the stolen ideas, the feeling of being used. Even though Arjun had shown himself to be different, even though he had supported her again and again, a small voice in her head whispered warnings. What if he changed when real ambition was on the line? What if this was all a strategy to get close to her and learn her methods? Maya started pulling away. She worked alone more often, declining Arjun's invitations for coffee or lunch. She kept her ideas for the board presentation completely private, not sharing them with anyone. She stayed late at the office, but now she made sure to work when Arjun wasn't around. She could see the confusion and hurt in his eyes when she made excuses to avoid him. But she told herself it was necessary. Protecting her work, protecting her chances, protecting her heart. One evening, Maya was working alone in the office, long after everyone had gone home. She had been staring at her laptop screen for an hour, trying to finalize her presentation. But something was wrong. The ideas she had developed looked good on paper. Safe and professional, and perfectly acceptable. But they lacked passion. They lacked the spark that made her best work special. In trying so hard to protect her ideas from everyone, she had created something that felt cold and mechanical. Frustrated, she got up and walked to the large window that overlooked the city. The streets below were busy with evening traffic, people heading home to their families, to their lives outside of work. Maya suddenly felt exhausted. Not just physically, but emotionally. She was tired of being afraid. Tired of treating everyone like a potential threat. Tired of choosing loneliness over connection. She heard footsteps behind her and turned to see Arjun entering the office. He looked surprised to find her there, then concerned when he saw the stress on her face. "I thought you might be here," he said quietly. "Maya, we need to talk." She wanted to make another excuse, to send him away, but she didn't have the energy anymore. "I know," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Arjun came closer, but kept a respectful distance. "You've been avoiding me for 2 weeks. I think I know why. But I need to hear it from you. Is this about the promotion?" Maya nodded, feeling tears threatening to spill over. "Last time I was in this situation, last time I trusted someone I worked with, it destroyed me. I can't go through that again. So you assume I'll do the same thing," Arjun said. It wasn't a question, and there was hurt in his voice, but also understanding. "Maya, I get it. I really do. But you're punishing me for something I haven't done. You're punishing us both." I don't know how to do this, Maya admitted, and the confession felt like releasing a weight she had been carrying for too long. I don't know how to trust and compete at the same time. I don't know how to care about you and also fight for what I want. Arjun took a step closer. Maybe we don't have to fight. Maybe there's another way. He pulled out his phone and showed her something. It was an email to the senior management, sent earlier that afternoon. In it, Arjun had withdrawn his solo application for the promotion. Instead, he had proposed something different, a co-leadership model where he and Maya would run the new division together, combining their different strengths to create something better than either of them could do alone. Maya stared at the email, reading it twice to make sure she understood correctly. You withdrew? Arjun, this promotion could change your entire career. Why would you do this? Because working with you is better than working against you, he said simply. Because I've watched you create magic when you're not held back by fear. Because I care about you more than I care about a title. He paused, his voice becoming softer. And because real partnership, real trust, is worth more than individual achievement. Maya didn't know what to say. She stood there in the empty office, the city lights twinkling behind her, holding Arjun's phone and reading his email proposal over and over. No one had ever done something like this for her before. No one had ever chosen collaboration over competition, chosen her well-being over their own advancement. The gesture was so unexpected, so generous, that it broke through the last of her defensive walls. What if they say no? She asked, her practical mind already thinking about the risks. What if they want one leader, not two? You'll have given up your chance for nothing. Arjun smiled, and there was something peaceful in his expression. Then, at least I'll know I tried to do things differently, and you'll still have your shot at the position. He took a small step closer. Maya, I need you to understand something. I'm not him. I'm not the person who hurt you before. I can't keep proving that in small ways. At some point, you have to decide whether you believe it or not. Maya felt tears sliding down her cheeks. She wasn't usually a person who cried, especially not at work, but tonight was different. Tonight felt like a turning point. I'm scared, she whispered. I'm scared of trusting you and being wrong. I'm scared of letting you in and getting hurt again. I know, Arjun said gently. But isn't being alone also scary? Isn't missing out on something real also a kind of hurt? He reached out slowly, giving her plenty of time to step back if she wanted. When she didn't move away, he gently wiped a tear from her cheek with his thumb. You don't have to decide everything right now. Just tell me you'll think about the partnership proposal. Tell me you'll consider that maybe, just maybe, not everyone will betray you. Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. They stood there in the quiet office for a long moment, and something fundamental shifted between them. It wasn't dramatic or sudden. It was more like ice melting slowly, revealing what had been underneath all along. Connection, trust, the possibility of something more. Over the next few days, Maya did think about Arjun's proposal. She thought about it constantly, actually. She revised her own presentation, incorporating ideas that would work better with a co-leadership model. She researched companies that had successfully implemented shared leadership structures, and slowly, carefully, she let herself imagine what it might be like to work side by side with Arjun. Not as competitors, but as true partners. The day of the board presentation arrived on a bright Tuesday morning. Maya had barely slept the night before, running through her talking points over and over in her mind. She arrived at the office early, wearing her best suit, carrying the revised presentation that now included Arjun's partnership concept. To her surprise, Arjun was already there, also dressed professionally, also looking slightly nervous. They had agreed to present together, taking turns explaining different aspects of their vision for the new wellness division. As they rode the elevator up to the top floor where the boardroom was located, Arjun reached over and squeezed Maya's hand briefly. "We've got this," he said confidently. "Whatever happens, we did it the right way." The presentation went better than Maya could have hoped. The board members listened attentively as she and Arjun explained their vision. They outlined how their different skills complemented each other. Maya's creative innovation paired with Arjun's strategic planning. Her eye for emotional storytelling combined with his understanding of market trends. They showed how the co-leadership model would provide better balance and more comprehensive oversight for the new division. The board members asked tough questions, and Maya felt her old nervousness trying to creep in. But every time she faltered, Arjun was there to support her point or add context. And when the board pushed back on some of Arjun's ideas, Maya jumped in to defend them with research and examples. They moved together like a team that had been working in sync for years instead of just months. After they finished, the board chair, an older woman with sharp eyes and a warm smile, thanked them for the innovative proposal. She said, then she added something unexpected. "I have to say, it's refreshing to see two talented people who want to build each other up instead of tearing each other down. That's rare in this industry." As they left the boardroom, Maya felt lighter than she had in weeks. Win or lose, she had done something important today. She had chosen to trust. She had chosen partnership over isolation. And regardless of what the board decided, that choice had already changed her. The board's decision came 2 days later. Maya was working at her desk when her phone buzzed with a message asking her and Arjun to come to the director's office. Her heart started racing as they walked down the hallway together. This was it, the moment that would determine the next phase of her career, and possibly her life. The director, a friendly man in his 50s who had always supported Maya's creative vision, gestured for them to sit down. He had a smile on his face, which Maya took as a good sign. "I won't keep you in suspense," he said. "The board has approved your co-leadership proposal. Starting next month, you'll both be heading the new wellness and lifestyle division." Maya felt joy explode in her chest. She looked at Arjun and saw the same happiness reflected in his eyes. They had done it. Together. The director continued talking about budgets and team structure and timeline, but Maya could barely focus on the practical details. All she could think about was that she had taken a risk on trust, and it had paid off in ways that went beyond just professional success. After the meeting, Maya and Arjun walked back to their workspace in a happy daze. Their colleagues noticed something had happened and gathered around, asking questions. When they shared the news, the office erupted in cheers and congratulations. There was genuine happiness for them, though Maya noticed a few skeptical faces in the crowd. People who probably wondered how long this partnership would last before competition or conflict tore it apart. But Maya wasn't worried about those doubts anymore. She had learned something crucial over these past months. Trust wasn't about being naive or ignoring red flags. It was about choosing to believe in someone who had proven themselves worthy of that belief, again and again, through both small gestures and big sacrifices. That evening, after most of the office had cleared out, Maya found Arjun still at his desk, looking at plans for their new division. She pulled up a chair next to him, something she would have never done a few months ago when she kept careful distance between herself and everyone else. "Thank you," she said simply, "for taking a chance on this partnership, for not giving up on me even when I was pushing you away." Arjun turned to look at her, and there was warmth in his eyes that made Maya's heart skip. "You don't have to thank me. Working with you, building something together, that's not a sacrifice. That's exactly what I want to be doing." There was a pause, one of those moments where the air feels charged with possibility. Maya thought about all the walls she had built around herself after her last heartbreak. She thought about how those walls had kept her safe but also kept her from experiencing real connection. And she thought about how Arjun had patiently, gently, shown her that not everyone would hurt her, that trust was still possible. "I want to be honest about something," Maya said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "This partnership we have, It's not just professional for me anymore. Somewhere along the way, you became more than just a colleague. And that scares me, but I don't want to run from it anymore. Arjun's face broke into the most genuine smile Maya had ever seen. I was hoping you'd say something like that eventually, he admitted. Because I've felt the same way for months now. I just didn't want to push you before you were ready. They sat there in the quiet office. The city spread out below them through the windows, and talked about what came next. Not just for their new division, but for them. Personally, they agreed to take things slow, to keep building the trust they had started. They acknowledged it would be complicated, dating someone you also worked with closely. But they both felt it was worth trying. Over the following months, Maya and Arjun built something remarkable together. The wellness division became one of the agency's most successful departments. Their campaigns won awards. Their team grew. Clients specifically requested to work with them because of their reputation for creative excellence and authentic collaboration. But more than the professional success, Maya found herself experiencing something she thought she had lost forever. Happiness. The kind that comes from doing meaningful work with someone who respects you, challenges you, and supports you in equal measure. The kind that comes from choosing to trust again, even after being hurt, and finding that trust honored and protected. 1 year after that night in the parking garage, Arjun planned a surprise for Maya. He took her back to their office building on a Saturday evening when it was empty. They rode the elevator up to their floor, and Maya laughed, remembering all the late nights they had spent working together in this space. "Why are we here?" she asked, as they walked through the darkened office toward the windows that overlooked the city. "Because this is where everything changed," Arjun said. "This is where you decided to trust me. Where we decided to build something together instead of competing alone." He took her hand, something that felt natural now, after months of dating. "And I wanted to ask you something important in the place where our partnership began." Maya's heart started beating faster as Arjun reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. "We've proven we can work together," he said. "We've proven we can build something amazing as partners. And I'd like to keep building with you, not just at work, but in life. Maya, will you marry me?" The tears that filled Maya's eyes were happy ones this time. She thought about the journey that had brought her to this moment, the heartbreak that had made her build walls, the courage it took to let those walls come down, the trust she had chosen to give, even when it scared her, and the beautiful relationship that had grown from that choice. "Yes," she said, and the word felt like freedom. "Yes, I'll marry you." As Arjun slipped the ring on her finger and pulled her into a warm embrace, Maya looked out at the city lights below. She thought about how much can change when you decide to take a chance on trust, on partnership, on love. She had spent years protecting herself from pain, but in doing so, she had also protected herself from joy. Now, standing in Arjun's arms with the whole city spread out before them, she understood something profound. The best things in life require vulnerability. They require the courage to trust, to open your heart, to believe that not everyone will hurt you. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, that courage leads you to a person who sees your walls and doesn't try to tear them down forcefully, but instead waits patiently and shows you through consistent action that it's safe to lower them yourself.